Even after finding his body, a family still has many unanswered questions about what really happened to an 18-year-old who went missing on his Florida vacation. We'll bring you our new interview with the family of Giovanni Pelletier coming up.
New Smyrna Beach firefighters are rallying at City Commission tonight for higher pay. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, I'll tell you why they say if they don't get it, it'll have a major effect on the residents here.
I'm Laverne McGee, your Osceola County community correspondent. School buses here may be getting some new technology to make sure your kids are protected when they're getting on and off the school bus. I'll tell you all about that coming up.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
First tonight, he was supposed to be on a cross-state trip to Brevard County, but ended up dead in a retention pond along I-75. Now the family of an 18-year-old wants the FBI to investigate what happened. Last week, we took you to a search in Mims for Giovanni Pelletier. That's where he was supposed to reunite with family members. But the Brevard investigation revealed he never made it to the East Coast. Pelletier was with two cousins and another man. And this happened while riding from Charlotte County to Mims. He apparently got out of the car in Manatee County and texted the word help to his mom. His body was found on Friday in a retention pond near Lakewood Ranch, not far from where he was last seen alive. Today, Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero met with his heartbroken family.
Giovanni Pelletier's family is meeting us here in this pavilion at Fox Lake Park in Titusville. Another cousin who I've met in my reporting, Morgan Hall.
I am devastated that we had to be the ones to bring Giovanni home.
She wants to address the developments since this past weekend.
We believe every person missing deserves immediate, thorough action and resources.
She says they found Gio's body very close to where he was last seen. Because it took over a week, now she says his body has decomposed, and it will take several more weeks to identify his cause of death.
So if a 1 mile search would have been done thoroughly, there would have been a potential to figure out what happened to him.
A lot of those who have watched our reporting, they have questions about the people Gio was in the car with. What do you think? Our sheriff has ruled out that they've done anything wrong.
There was no evidence of any type of wrongdoing.
I personally do not know these boys at all, so I can't comment on their character, but I do know that I would never leave someone on the side of the road. Everyone knows something is wrong with the story. Nothing makes sense to anyone, and everyone sees a kind-hearted young boy.
And Morgan, it seems clear your family's not going to rest until you get some answers.
No, it's not over at all.
Next, the family is asking the FBI to investigate. That's the hope of this Change.org petition. The initial investigator of this story, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, offered their condolences when they wrote this new email to me. What this family has been through is nothing short of earth-shattering. Quite literally, their world was torn apart, and they desperately want and deserve answers. Our hearts go out to them, and our team continues to investigate to find those answers for them. In Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
James, thank you. The rain is coming down in parts of Central Florida right now as we take a live look at I-4 near the Michigan Street exit in Orange County. You can see the raindrops on our camera there and the wet roads out there. Scattered downpours are back. So who has the highest chances of seeing some rain tonight? Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now to answer that question for us. Jonathan?
Yeah, Lisa, we're seeing them right now. Pretty much if you draw a line right up and down the Florida Peninsula, right smack dab in the middle of this, we are going to be watching the storms kind of fire along I-4 where we're seeing them right now. And they will continue to march to the west. So through the rest of the evening beyond this point now, if you do have plans to be outside tonight, the drier opportunity going to be closer to the Atlantic beaches and I-95, where we're going to increase the thunderstorm chances in between I-4 and I-75. Hour by hour forecast. Again, we're going to keep storm chances at 40% tonight, right around 7 o'clock. And again, that's mainly going to be west. For the next couple of hours, we're still going to be dealing with a few downpours and thunderstorms to the east. Rain chances at 20% through 11. Tropical storm Erin is still out there. It is struggling as expected right now. Still a tropical storm, of course. 45-mile-per-hour winds. We'll get a new track at 5 o'clock that we'll, of course, share with you. There's nothing to be concerned with Erin right now. Again, just in kind of watch mode. We're going to talk much more about this coming up at about 4:17.
Jonathan, thank you. Just into the newsroom, leaders in Seminole County voted to raise the local gas tax by 5 cents a gallon. That would push it to 12 cents, which puts it among the highest in the state. Marion, Osceola, and Volusia counties already charge 12 cents, but in neighboring Orange County, the gas tax remains at 6 cents. County leaders say the increase would fund road projects and mass transit upgrades. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver has been following this story. She will have another update coming up at 5. A Lake County judge has set the trial dates for suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez and his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez. Each have a pre-trial hearing scheduled for October 9th, with their trials slated to begin on October 20th. The trials are tied to an illegal gambling operation that brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Investigators say Marcos Lopez ran the operation while Severance Lopez helped. Both have pleaded not guilty to the charges. New Smyrna Beach firefighters are set to rally for higher pay ahead of tonight's City Commission meeting. Right now, they get paid about $15 an hour, and you can make that much by working at Walmart, Target, or Publix. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is outside of New Smyrna Beach City Hall with what the fire union is asking for.
The firefighters here in New Smyrna Beach tell me that they comparatively have one of the lowest salaries in the state, and they say if they don't reach an agreement here soon with the city to get paid more, it's going to have a major effect on those who live here in the emergency services.
Even working for a city like this for almost past 4 years for me, I had to make the decision that is best for me and my family and move on to a better career opportunity.
We caught Christian Huddleston walking out of City Hall right after his exit interview from the New Smyrna Beach Fire Department.
I'm getting a big pay raise to leave. My pension contribution is going from 10% down to 3%.
And he isn't the only one looking.
We have 32% of our department with active applications in with other departments.
The fire department only had 3 applicants last hiring round. Brandon Carroll with the New Smyrna Beach Fire Union says if they don't have full staff, stations could be browned out.
Right now our starting rate is $15.33 an hour. If you add that up, it's like $44,600 a year, which is far less than most of the departments in the state.
The fire union's proposal argues New Smyrna EMTs make roughly $4,000 to $15,000 a year less than the departments those here are applying to and leaving for. The union is asking for a pay matrix now with at least $18 per hour starting.
You know, we started negotiation talks back in December because we knew in July they had to send the trim notice out for the military. So we wanted to give them enough time in order to budget for that. And basically they have yet to talk to us.
Now the city manager here sent me a statement that says in part they still have a month and a half under the current contract with the union to negotiate. It also says in part public safety remains a top priority for the city commission. In fact, nearly half of our entire general fund budget is dedicated to fire and police services. The city commission meeting here starts tonight at 6:30. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Meantime, city leaders in Sanford are under pressure because of a proposed fire fee that could cost homeowners about $100 a year. Last night, the room was packed with neighbors passionate both for and against the fee in Sanford. It's meant to fund important fire department upgrades. If approved, the fee would generate about $2.4 million a year, costing the average homeowner nearly $95 a year. The mayor says this fee is about planning ahead, not filling a budget gap.
The fire department is asking for higher raises, does not provide additional money for that. If we go to shorter shifts, which the state is pushing, we do not have funding for that. Going forward, this would give us room to do things like that.
The commission voted to send notices to property owners. A final decision is expected early next month. We've seen a number of local cities discuss fire fees lately. This includes Kissimmee, Ocoee, Mount Dora, and Brevard County. Winter Garden was considering a fee that would start at $300 per home, but now we are learning the city manager is recommending the city not move forward with that. We'll have an update on where that stands coming up on News 6 at 5. A Central Florida school district is trying to avoid children getting hit when they are getting on and off the school bus. caused by having blind spots. As your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee tells us, they are planning to put new technology in the buses.
And how many kids do you have?
8.
8 kids!
We met busy mom Casey picking up one of her many kids here at Island Village Elementary School in Celebration. She knows all about school bus safety challenges.
How important is it to keep kids safe when they're getting on and off the school bus?
It's real important because sometimes some of the kids, they play around, they run around the bus, they go the wrong way, and you cannot see them. So it's important. It is.
The Osceola County School District is partnering with a Korean company called Smart Radar Systems. It's a pedestrian detection system that uses sensors to help with blind spots.
Their system also scans the interior of the bus to ensure we don't inadvertently leave a student on the bus after the bus shuts down. That's actually a very common problem with almost anybody that operates school buses. We're not going to be able to equip all of our buses at once because of the cost.
It's estimated to cost about $5,000 per bus, and they hope to have at least one in by winter break.
So you're glad to hear they're looking into this sensor system?
Yes, I am.
Your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
Inflation remains steady, but we could still see prices going up. What to watch out for, that's coming up.
If you've got broken blinds like this one, I bet you already have a solution that you don't even know about. I bet you got extras. So I'm going to show you how to take one of these out and slide it in to replace it. I'm Eric Von Hank, the Handy Newsman. We're getting results at home. Coming up.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
You made it!
It's Mary Lou here in Poinciana. Nice to see you. It's just
so
Eric Von
exciting.
Anken, the handy newsman with Destiny.
Hi.
To fix your broken blinds?
Yes, broken blind.
Okay, show me.
All right, come this way.
Aha, I think I see it. So what happened here?
The dog broke it, I believe.
It's always the dog. The idea is we're going to slide these out. I'm going to slide this one in. And we're going to try and get results.
Okay, good job.
First thing I'm going to check for is, are there extra slats? And yes, it turns out there are. Often blinds aren't shortened, so you might have an extra one at the bottom. So we're just going to use one of these. And I got to tell you, it's tough to find a single replacement slat. The pros at Lowe's happen to have one laying around, so they gave it to me. Otherwise, maybe check Amazon. But if you got extras, this is the answer. Step one, we're going to pop out the stoppers on the bottom rail. The two stoppers on the ends have little knots in them, so I'm taking out the knot to get the stopper off. Now step two is slide out the slats. And look at this. Turns out Mary Lou actually has two broken slats. So it's a really good thing that we happen to have two extras. Step three now is just to feed in the replacement slats. Now putting the bottom rail back in place. So now we're going to feed the stopper back through the string again and make a new knot. And last thing is to feed the excess string back into the hole where it was to begin with. Now here's something you need to know. If your blinds are automatically tensioned like these, sometimes the pull string can shoot way up and it's really tough to get it back down through. So in that case, take the blinds off, lay them on the ground, and it makes the job a whole lot easier. I'm gonna get Mary Lou. So Mary Lou, how'd we do?
Oh, wow, that is great. What a fantastic job.
Well, that's good. It turns out you had two broken slats, we discovered, but you had two extras.
Oh, wow, that's great.
We got results at home.
Yes, what a great job.
Great.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, who is standing by because it's been pretty active every afternoon this week, and that pattern is continuing today.
Yeah, and we always want to watch out, especially now that the kids are back to school, making sure that there's no lightning around or waiting in the car line, things like that. Again, lightning very, very dangerous, obviously, especially in the state of Florida with how much we have. We have a new little cell popping up. We showed you this about 15 minutes ago. It was just a little red bullseye there. Now we have some lightning attached to that. These are all drifting back off towards the north and east. So Mims into Scottmore, we have some lightning strikes around, even though it's not raining. So be mindful of that. To the west of us in Bunnell and Palm Coast, those are also drifting to the west. And then to the west of the Orlando metro area, right around Oakland, just south of Lake Apopka, Winter Garden to the west of Ocoee. All of that is firing. Also around Mineola, getting into Claremont. We're going to be watching that as well. There's 4 to 5 o'clock tonight. We have those scattered thunderstorms in the mix again as we move forward for the rest of the evening. There's 6 to 7 o'clock with those scattered thunderstorms and pushing all the way to the west. So I am expecting kind of a quick exit here over the next couple of hours. Again, 7 o'clock, we may still be hanging on to a few from about Lakeland to the Villages and to Ocala if you followed I-75 straight up. And then we're going to watch these continue to push to the west. Getting into tomorrow, I think everybody starts out on the dry side. And then we'll do the same thing again. There's lunchtime. I think we're mainly dry. And then we'll see a few storms start to pop on both sides of the state again and then work their way further to the inland areas. That's 5 to 6 o'clock. And then I think we could have a more prolific sea breeze collision tomorrow. This is going to be 8 o'clock into the evening. That's because the east and west coast sea breeze both make their way to I-4 and then help things explode a little bit further. So I think we'll see storms linger a little bit later tomorrow night, a little more widespread right smack dab in the Florida Peninsula. Here's a live look outside. Gorgeous shot in Daytona Beach. Live look tonight, so back to the upper 80s. The winds are variable. variable, changing directions a little bit at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Still feels like 100 though. The humidity nice and juiced up there, as it typically is this time of the year. The Villages, we're checking in at 96 right now. Kissimmee, we are at 84. Good evening in Titusville. We are at 93 degrees, 89 for us in Melbourne. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Temperatures get back to the mid-90s tomorrow, holding rain chances again at 60%. Tropical storm Erin, of course, still out there. This is going to be something we talk about for a while as it slowly works its way to the west. It's actually booking right now, though, at about 23 miles an hour. It's looking pretty sad, and this was to be expected. We talked about the main development region, this area in between the Lesser Antilles and the African continent. It's not very favorable for development. Winds are still holding at 45 miles an hour. When it changes, though, it gets a little more favorable, a little bit closer to the islands, and you see that's where the hurricanes under forecast does have this getting up to a major hurricane as it moves north of Puerto Rico going forward. Still expecting it to bend away from Florida. The question is how close right now. I'm going to show you some of the modeling coming up at about 4:47. Temperatures tomorrow getting back to the mid-90s, 95 degrees on Thursday, 95 on Friday. We'll keep rain chances at 40% to end the work week and start your weekend back to the mid-90s next week, Lisa.
Jonathan, thank you. Inflation is holding steady, but tariffs could still raise prices. How people are spending their money now to prepare. That's next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
The government released its monthly report on inflation, the consumer price index, this morning. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here now with the results. So, Jill, what did that July data show?
Well, we saw the inflation rate hold steady. It was up 2.7% from a year ago. That matches the June reading.
So obviously, inflation has been on top of everyone's mind for some time now, years now. And we do know that retailers are trying to roll out sales, especially like Christmas and July sales. We've got all of the back to school specials that are taking place. What is going on with consumers? Are they taking advantage of these sales? Are they still kind of staying on the sidelines right now? What's happening?
I think a lot of parents have no choice in some respects, that a lot of them are just plunging in and doing that. I think the holiday shopping's a little bit tougher. More than half of Americans say it is just too early to think about the winter holiday shopping season. Now, that said, 1 in 5 Americans say they are worried that tariff-induced price increases are coming, and they've already started to load up on their holiday shopping. So again, 21% are doing their holiday shopping already. That's a 5 percentage point increase from last year. It's a big move, and I think I'm a little bit surprised that it's so much more this year than last year.
All right, Jill, thank you as always. Still ahead, a local city wants to manage growth while protecting the environment. We'll take a look at their plan and how people are reacting to it.
This YouTube channel shows motorcycles that appear to speed and ride dangerously through Central Florida. I'll explain why the Florida Highway Patrol is not seeking criminal charges against anyone tied to those YouTube videos.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now. The family of a missing teen who was found dead wants the FBI to investigate what happened. 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier was traveling from Charlotte County to Brevard County. His body was found on Friday in a retention pond near I-75 in Manatee County. New Smyrna Beach firefighters are set to rally for higher pay ahead of tonight's City Commission meeting. Right now, they get paid about $15 an hour. They say that is among the lowest pay in the state. The union says they want that bumped up to at least $18 an hour. Leaders in Seminole County have approved a 5 cents a gallon sales tax increase for gas. That pushes the tax to 12 cents. It's the same tax rate drivers pay in Marion, Osceola, and Volusia counties. It's just 6 cents in Orange County. And we're also following this top story. Recently, we told you about this YouTube channel. It features motorcyclists appearing to speed through Central Florida. In other states, investigators have arrested drivers for making similar social media videos. But News 6 has learned the Florida Highway Patrol is not seeking criminal charges in this case. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest explains why.
This YouTube video, titled Orlando to Daytona in 20 Minutes, appears to show a motorcycle weaving through traffic on I-4 at high speeds. It's among dozens of videos posted on this YouTube channel that were recently reviewed by the Florida Highway Patrol. Although the motorcycle speedometer reads more than 150 miles per hour, News 6 cannot confirm exactly how fast the bike was going. And we cannot confirm who was operating it since his face is obscured. What's up, YouTube? This man, Dallas Ashley, appeared in several other videos that were posted on the same YouTube channel called Speed Demon 407. But Ashley insists he is not the man riding these motorcycles. You can't prove who was riding, Ashley tells News 6. It appears the Florida Highway Patrol agrees. I've obtained these internal FHP emails. They reveal that FHP Sergeant George Diaz reviewed the videos and determined there was no way to positively identify the operator of the motorcycle.
Let this serve as an example.
But just months ago, police in Charleston, South Carolina arrested this man, Raymond Ortiz, for allegedly riding his motorcycle dangerously and then posting videos of it on Instagram. After Charleston police identified Ortiz as a possible suspect, records show that agency executed a lawful search warrant on his apartment and seized multiple items, including a GoPro 360-degree camera that is equipped with integrated GPS, which investigators say confirm the motorcycle's location and speed. Ortiz says he's innocent. There is no indication that FHP tried to get search warrants related to the Speed Demon 407 YouTube videos. The agency is not answering our questions, asking why. Mike DeForest, News 6.
The city of Lake Helen will keep its police department despite budget concerns and a possible $300,000 in savings. The commission voted 3-2 to keep their police force. The initial proposal was to contract with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office to save money. However, during last night's meeting, both neighbors and police officers spoke about the value of having a local department.
But for you to sit there and say it's not a crime written spot, it's because of these people. It's because they're protecting them. You take them away.
I did pick my job for life here. You know why? My pension stays here. If I'm gone, my pension is done. I am 44 years old. Where do I go start a pension?
The mayor says the topic could come up again next year. We are learning new details about what led up to a driver hitting a teenager on an e-bike on the first day of school. We told you about this yesterday at 4. The crash happened on Howland Boulevard and Roble Lane in Deltona yesterday morning. That's east of I-4. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada learned witnesses jumped in to help the 14-year-old.
Thankfully, he is expected to be okay. Deputies say that 14-year-old was on his way to school on the very first day of school when he was hit on the crosswalk by a driver turning onto Howland Boulevard.
We didn't hear no sirens. We just walked out. They were out there. They had the kid on the floor there next to his bike.
Neighbors looked on in shock Monday after seeing the teenager down on the ground. Deputies say he was headed down Howland Boulevard when he was struck by a Kia that was making a turn. Investigators say the boy was then dragged 15 feet and ended up trapped before a passing tow truck driver stopped and lifted up the car.
Pretty intense, for a little while. The kids over here, they fly through the street. I've seen them many times. I keep telling my wife, one of these kids are going to get hurt.
The crash is just the latest in what's been a series of wrecks across Central Florida involving e-bikes, some of which can go over 20 miles per hour. Just last week, leaders in Edgewater debated new restrictions, but ultimately voted down a plan that would have banned the bikes on sidewalks. The sheriff in Flagler County, meantime, says his team is also looking to tighten regulations, all in the name of safety. In this case, the teen was wearing a helmet, and even though he had to be airlifted to the hospital, he's expected to make a full recovery. Deputies say it's a good reminder to make sure you're wearing a helmet and to always make sure you're following the rules of the road. Reporting in Deltona, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent, Angie Casada, News 6.
Governor Ron DeSantis has appointed Republican State Senator Jay Collins of Tampa as the new lieutenant governor. The appointment comes amid speculation that Collins could run for governor in 2026. The lieutenant governor position has been vacant since February when Jeanette Nunez was named president of Florida International University. Collins was elected to the state Senate in 2022.
Regardless of where you live, what your politics are, I want you to know that as your lieutenant governor, I have your back. I will fight to defend each and every one of you, whether you're going to vote for me or not. You are a member of this state.
This is the latest in the governor's series of major appointments. Last month, he appointed Blaise Ingoglia to serve as state chief financial officer. In February, he appointed his former chief of staff, James Uffmeyer, to serve as attorney general. That came after the governor appointed former attorney general Ashley Moody to Marco Rubio's vacated seat in the U.S. Senate. It is one of the most pressing issues facing Lake County. Local leaders are working on a plan to manage growth, and today they are getting feedback on those efforts. As Lake County's community correspondent Mark Lehman shows us, the input could be crucial for the county's long-term goals.
Over the last several weeks, work has been happening to hear from residents about Lake County's 2050 comprehensive plan. The goal is managing growth while protecting the environment, and now we're seeing the community's response. The Board of County Commissioners going through responses from more than 1,500 people living in Lake County. An in-depth survey gathering perspectives on growth and infrastructure.
These are longstanding residents that have legitimate concerns about traffic and where new houses are being developed.
Kelly Klepper guiding us through the survey results. It's giving county leaders valuable insight into how residents view the current state of Lake County and what's important to protect.
There's a lot of natural beauty and environmental features that are worth preserving. So making sure that we're not affecting those is one of the key themes that we keep hearing.
The meeting is happening as Lake is in the midst of developing a 25-year growth management plan, but a key aspect is cooperation from the county's 14 cities.
We do have high hopes. We would love it if we actually got all the cities on board and our comp plan was all one big plan.
Meanwhile, commissioners are moving forward with the plan.
What are those things that we can build into the comprehensive plan that establishes that vision so that the county can take the next steps?
While the future of this comprehensive plan is still very much uncertain, the next steps include re-engaging the public over the next 6 months. If the plan is adopted, that likely will not happen until fall of next year. In Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
We are expecting a historic launch from the Space Coast tonight. United Launch Alliance is preparing for the first military mission for its new Vulcan Centaur rocket. The 201-foot-tall rocket is slightly bigger than SpaceX's Falcon 9. It is designed to carry larger payloads. ULA's CEO recently shared images and a time-lapse video of the rocket's rollout to the pad. The launch tonight will send 2 secret national security payloads into space for the U.S. Space Force. And that launch window will open just before 8 tonight and runs until 9 p.m. If it happens, we'll stream it for you live on clickorlando.com. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is expected to vote on a seasonal bear hunt tomorrow. Discussions over a possible bear hunt began back in December to control the population and reduce bear-human encounters. The commission estimates more than 4,000 bears currently roam the state. Meantime, several protests took place across the state over the weekend ahead of the vote. The coordinator for the Animal Rights Foundation of Florida says because bear communities are so fragmented, a bear hunt would not do much to help with population control.
If you kill a bear in the Ocala forest, that's not going to do anything for a bear in downtown Orlando. You kill a bear in the Panhandle, that's not going to do anything for the people who are having negative conflicts with the bears in South Florida.
FWC says the new plan would issue permits and hunting would be allowed within bear management units that have at least 200 bears. If approved, this would be the first time a bear hunting season has taken place in a decade. Again, that vote is expected to take place tomorrow in Gadsden County in North Florida. This new school year marks a big change when it comes to cell phones on campus. It's all because of a new state law.
We don't allow cell phones from bell to bell.
Some districts take the cell phone ban a step further. We'll have the county by county expectations. That's next. Jonathan.
We are tracking a couple of thunderstorms out there. You see lightning around Palm Coast and Bunnell, also to the west of Lake Apopka. We're going to talk about where these storms are headed, and we'll have the latest on Tropical Storm Erin as well. That's coming up at about 4:47.
And before we head to break, we have an all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus to tell you about. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. This school year, a new law targeting cell phones is front and center. Some districts, like Orange County, have enacted an all-out ban, while others allow phones during lunch and in between classes for high school students. I took a deeper dive to see how this will affect students county by county.
We don't allow cell phones from bell to bell.
That is Orange County School Superintendent Maria Vasquez testifying in Tallahassee in January about the benefits they've seen from banning cell phones in all schools from bell to bell. Under the new law passed by lawmakers this spring, all elementary and middle school students in the state will now be banned from using a cell phone at any time, including during lunch and in between classes. But the rules are still a bit different for high schools. Districts may allow students to use them on a limited basis. However, Orange County is sticking with its all-out ban.
It was surprisingly and shockingly pretty easy to implement.
Also testifying at the hearing, Timber Creek High School's principal, Mark Wasco.
When we first started actually taking cell phones, first day about 120. And then by the second day, it went down to about 30.
Timber Creek has become a shining example of how the new policy can help students connect and stay engaged. The Orange County High School recently showed our Emily McLeod how students now play spike ball and pickleball during lunch instead of getting on their phone. So what can high school students in other districts expect this year? I asked every school district in Central Florida what their plans are for the upcoming school year. Orange and Osceola will continue with their bell-to-bell ban for all students, while nearly every other county tells me they will allow high school students to use a phone during lunch and in between classes. Now, there are exceptions for students with medical or personal issues that require a device. I've posted that full breakdown for you at clickorlando.com. Meantime, Brevard County could soon be the latest Central Florida school district to crack down on cell phones. The superintendent says the school board will vote tonight on banning phones from bell to bell for all students.
We're going to strengthen our policy. In the past, cell phones have been outlawed during instructional time. In other words, students couldn't use their cell phones during class. The board's taken the step to make sure that students don't use the cell phones at all during the day.
Tonight's meeting is in less than an hour at 5:30. And don't forget, News 6 is helping teachers start the school year strong. We've created a county-by-county gift list with the supplies they need the most. Just scan the QR code on your screen. You can also find the links at clickorlando.com/back-to-school. It's a great way to support our educators together. And now we do want to check in with Jonathan Kagas, who's standing by. Of course, most of the kids are now home. We
Yes.
do have some after-school activities, though, that are starting up again, and those showers are complicating some things for people with outdoor plans.
No doubt about it, Lisa. We're watching these storms again fire mainly along into the west of I-4. We have a couple of stragglers hanging back toward I-95. Those are not lasting too terribly long. Everything drifting to the north and west tonight, so I suspect that we're going to get rid of these storms pretty quickly, mainly after about 7 or 8. We may have a few storms lingered, mainly to the west of I-75 tonight. But you see hanging around Palm Coast, this is drifting back off towards the north. We're likely going to see the cell that's hanging over Mineola, Montverde right now get back up into Leesburg over the next 15 to 30 minutes. So just an early heads up in Leesburg, especially on the east side of town, that we have those storms sliding through. There's 4 to 5 o'clock tonight, and Future Radar, I think, doing a nice job. By 7 o'clock, everything pushing back to the west and closer to I-75. Another little flare up, mainly for Polk County, and then starting to get closer to Pinellas County as well. Those fizzle out throughout the course of the evening. Starting off tomorrow on a dry note, we'll get temperatures again back to the mid-90s tomorrow afternoon. There's 2 o'clock, a few downpours trying to get going. And then watch what happens. A little bit of a different flavor tomorrow. I think we'll have both sea breezes collide inland tomorrow, and that's going to keep things pretty rocking, I think, late into the evening. So that's in that 7, 8, 9 o'clock ballpark that we see that nasty line of thunderstorms closer to the I-4. I think one of our traditional sea breeze collisions likely happening tomorrow. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Temperatures get back to the mid-90s, rain chances up to 60% again tomorrow, pretty much where we were today. Tropical storm Erin, the latest, it's still hanging out here. It does not look that healthy. And again, this was to be expected. It is surrounded by dry, dusty Saharan air. We talked about this all last week, that the main development region is not that conducive for development over the next couple of days. It will, really over the next couple of weeks. Once it gets closer to the Caribbean islands, that's where it starts to find a better environment. So we watch the steering. This is going to be pushed east or pushed to the west by this area of high pressure first. And then all eyes are going to be in the high pressure that's helping to heat us up over the next couple of days. It's that orange guy right right there. This, of course, is the storm. This is one model rendition of it. But I want to show you how the orange goes away a little bit. So modeling continues to latch on that the high pressure over Florida kind of retrogrades back to the west, and then it gets nice and strong north and east of the Caribbean, where it does find a better environment. It has its structure right now, so once it gets into that better environment, it gets strong and then tends to curve. When these things get stronger, they tend to go north. If they stay weaker for longer, that's whenever they tend to go a little bit further to the west. So the latest computer models on this, again, take it north of the Caribbean islands, and then they bend it quickly. This is the area, the environment that I showed you there, that is going to be very favorable for development. One of the things that I'm seeing a lot of online is, what if it does another Irma? Because Irma's ensembles looked a lot like this, where the storm was expected to curve, and as we all know, it didn't. One thing about this and why I'm showing you the European ensembles, it's a bunch of yellow lines there. Each one of these a different take on what's going to happen. Even early on in Irma's life, there were a few of these lines that were pretty much right where the storm went. Since Erin has become a thing, none of those have shown anything like that. So models are also better these days in 2025 than they were in 2017. So not too concerned about that. Of course, I'm never going to stop watching it until we see that turn. But again, just want to add a little bit of calm out there for the Irma things. Irma did that in 20, so we're going to be watching. I could talk about this for 30 minutes, and I will tonight at 9:30. Just hit us up on clickorlando.com, also on the News 6 YouTube page, and we'll go more in depth on that. 60% shot for storms over the next couple of days. We're hanging in the mid-90s, Lisa.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now to a back-to-school question for our traffic safety expert. Someone wanted to know what to do when there is a school bus at a four-way stop. Trooper Steve explains next. As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, another local city turning to cameras to catch school zone speeders.
Where drivers will soon face big fines if they're caught putting kids' safety at risk.
Plus, Candace will have a look at the overnight track for Erin.
We'll see you for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
With school back, man, the things I saw yesterday. Is anyone allowed to move when a school bus is active at a four-way stop? All right, so you roll up to a four-way intersection and there it is, the school bus, right? Lights flashing, stop sign out. It's basically the traffic version of a referee out there blowing the whistle. Everybody needs to freeze. So here's the deal. When a school bus has its stop arms out, nobody moves. Doesn't matter if you're across from it, next to it, thinking about it, turning right or turning left. Nope. Not today. Those flashing red lights mean all lanes need to stop. All directions are at a full stop until those lights shut off and that sign folds away. Now, I know it feels weird. You're sitting there thinking, but I'm not even in the bus's lane. Still, it doesn't matter. The law says kids could be crossing anywhere. So you wait, period. So next time you're in that situation, don't inch, don't creep, don't give that, can I just squeeze by kind of look? The answer's always no. Just smile, wave to the bus driver, and remember, patience here isn't just polite, it's the law. And at the end of the day, when you're trying to squeeze past this stuff, it's not good. If you got a traffic safety question, you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
News 6 at 5 is up next. Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, fueling up in Seminole County will soon get more expensive. We'll let you know how much you're going to have to pay. Plus, she lost her job when she called a student by their preferred name. Tonight, the school board meets for the first time since a settlement. Hear what education leaders are saying about her tonight. And lingering questions surrounding an 18-year-old's death after he went missing in Florida. How the family hopes to get answers, that is coming up. Your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this in downtown Orlando for free anytime on News 6 Plus. A close look at the tropics and Aaron, what's going on with that? Coming up after the break. Now at 5, she lost her job over calling a student by their preferred name. For the first time since reaching a settlement, the Brevard School Board meets. Plus,
even after finding his body, a family still has many unanswered questions about what really happened to an 18-year-old who went missing on his Florida vacation. We'll bring you our new interview with the family of Giovanni Pelletier coming up.
And if you fuel up in Seminole County, you'll likely be paying more at the pump soon. We'll tell you how much it can cost. You're watching News 6 at 5. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. We want to start tonight with the weather as we take a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando cam.
Yeah, we have seen a few storms in the area, and the latest track on Aaron is just released. Let's get you right over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas.
Yeah, if you're interested, of course, we are keeping tabs on the tropics and out there, a weak tropical storm at this point, but wanted to get to the latest track. This official coming in from the Hurricane Center is still expected to bend away from Florida as we watch this get close to the Caribbean by the weekend as a Category 2 hurricane. And that is a major hurricane as it gets west of the Turks and Caicos. Again, never focus on the center line here because the storm's center could travel on the southern side of this or on the northeast side of this cone. So always watching, of course, but you see there as it gets towards Puerto Rico on Sunday, we already start to see it beginning to bend. Now, there are some questions on where that turn happens. If it stays weaker for longer, it'll go a little bit further west. If it gets stronger fast, then this thing's going to button hook right out here and not pose a threat to anybody except for Bermuda. So just watching a couple things, maybe it gets out to here and goes, or out to here and goes out. Nothing, no model, no ensemble that we have show a landfall in Florida at this time. It's important to know that. We talked a little bit about that before. In Irma's case, even with that terrible model forecast, a lot of them had out to sea, there were several ensemble members that did show the exact track of that landfall. And I know that comparison's made a lot so far. So we're going to keep on talking about that until we watch that turn. Scattered thunderstorms again to the west of Orlando. Also this nasty little cell around Palm Coast, at least to the west of Palm Coast. That is drifting to the north. We're going to talk much more about where these storms are headed coming up at about 5:17.
Jonathan, that's what we want to hear. Thank you. New at 5 now, the president of the Teachers Union in Brevard County, ahead of tonight's school board meeting. He's advocating for Melissa Calhoun, the teacher who was banned from teaching in the district for using a student's preferred name. News 6's Troy Campbell is there tonight. So, Troy, this is the first meeting since the district said she can't return to any classroom in Brevard County.
Yeah, right now we're standing outside the Brevard County School Board chambers ahead of that 5:30 meeting. We just spoke with the president of the Florida Education Association, who says he plans to address the board, urging that they do rehire Melissa Calhoun. Now former Satellite High School teacher Melissa Calhoun told News 6 last week she was simply following her student's request when she called the student by a name other than their birth name, which is in violation of state law. The state's Education Practices Commission has already decided Calhoun will keep her teaching certificate, but will be placed on a 1-year probation and will have to pay a $750 fine. Now, despite this, Brevard County Public Schools said Calhoun will not be employed by the district, at least not this year. Now, in the past, we've seen people show up here to the Brevard County School Board meetings to protest her termination. Calhoun says to News 6 she's seeking employment elsewhere in the meantime. And again, we chatted with Andrew Spar, the president of the Florida Education Association, who says Calhoun deserves her job back. Take a listen.
The district, when this first came out, said that they were waiting to see if the state was going to sanction her certificate so she couldn't teach. And they said if they don't, then they'll return her to the classroom. Well, once the state decides not to do that, boom, all of a sudden, they're not returning her to the classroom.
So again, that meeting set to begin at 5:30, and you just heard it there. He says that he does plan to address the board, so of course we will be there and keep you updated. Live in Brevard County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Troy, thank you. Tonight, a first look at body camera video from a police chase that ended in a man's death back in February. As we've been reporting, an Orlando police officer tried to pull over Dornell Bargnair for having an unreadable license plate. But during the chase, the Florida Highway Patrol says both Bargnair and the police officer hit a man on the sidewalk. Our Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti reviewed that body camera video, and he joins us now live in the newsroom. So, Mike, what is this new video showing us?
Yeah, Lisa, the footage we have is from Detective Christopher Moulton's body-worn camera. Orlando police say Moulton's unmarked truck was not equipped with a dash camera. so we never get to see the man who died, but we do get a glimpse of the moment Detective Moulton learns something had gone terribly wrong.
He wanted me back at the car, asked him, can you wait, I'm with K9 Track, and he said, no, I want you at the car now, replace. Yeah, I don't have my phone on me, so.
This is the end of the 20-minute body camera footage from that night in February. Rewind 20 minutes, and we start with perhaps the most pertinent part. Detective Christopher Moulton driving. There's no audio, but it's apparent he's in the midst of a chase. Florida Highway Patrol says it was during Dornell Bargnair's attempt to get away from Moulton that Bargnair hit 56-year-old Gerald Neal. And FHP says so did Moulton in his Ford F-150.
815 bailout, Rio Grande, Indiana. They just left him there under the truck like a piece of meat, like he meant nothing. Wow. Like he meant absolutely nothing. Wow. And we still don't have any answers.
An initial FHP report says that after Moulton's front tire collided with Neal, Moulton gets out of his truck and runs after Bargnair. 20 minutes later, while still searching for Bargnair, an officer tells Moulton he's needed back at his truck.
Oh, there was a guy under your truck.
Under my truck?
Yeah. All right, he's coming.
Hiding? Okay, yeah, I'll go check right now. Unless he doubled back.
I don't know if it's
No, definitely not.
So back to the reason authorities say the chase started in the first place, an unreadable license plate. And we reviewed Orlando Police's internal policies, and it appears Moulton's decision to pursue Bargnair was in violation of the department's policies, one of which says an officer may engage in a pursuit if they have a reasonable suspicion that the fleeing suspect committed or tried to commit a forcible felony. An unreadable license plate is not defined as a forcible felony. Moulton is still on administrative leave and has not been charged. Meanwhile, Bargnair's charges have since been upgraded to vehicular homicide. Back to you guys.
All right, Mike Valenti in the newsroom. Thank you. Well, he was supposed to be on a cross-state trip to Brevard County, but ended up dead in a retention pond along I-75. Now the family wants the FBI to investigate exactly what happened. So last week, we took you to a search in Mims. It was for 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier. He was supposed to reunite with family members there, but the Brevard investigation revealed he never made it to the East Coast. Pelletier was with two cousins and another man. Now, while riding from Charlotte County to Mims, he got out of the car in Manatee County and texted help to his mom. His body was found on Friday in a retention pond near Lakewood Ranch. It's not far from where he was last seen, in fact. Today, Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero met with his heartbroken family.
Giovanni Pelletier's family is meeting us here in this pavilion at Fox Lake Park in Titusville. Another cousin who I've met in my reporting, Morgan Hall.
I am devastated that we had to be the ones to bring Giovanni home.
She wants to address the developments since this past weekend.
We believe every person missing deserves immediate, thorough action and resources.
She says they found Gio's body very close to where he was last seen. Because it took over a week, now she says his body has decomposed, and it will take several more weeks to identify his cause of death.
So if a 1 mile search would have been done thoroughly, there would have been a potential to figure out what happened to him.
A lot of those who have watched our reporting, they have questions about the people Gio was in the car with. What do you think? Our sheriff has ruled out that they've done anything wrong.
There was no evidence of any type of wrongdoing.
I personally do not know these boys at all, so I can't comment on their character, but I do know that I would never leave someone on the side of the road. Everyone knows something is wrong with the story. Nothing makes sense to anyone, and everyone sees a kind-hearted young boy.
And Morgan, it seems clear your family's not going to rest until you get some answers.
No, it's not over at all.
Next, the family is asking the FBI to investigate. That's the hope of this Change.org petition. The initial investigator of this story, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, offered their condolences when they wrote this new email to me. What this family has been through is nothing short of earth-shattering. Quite literally, their world was torn apart, and they desperately want and deserve answers. Our hearts go out to them, and our team continues to investigate to find those answers for them. In Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Winter Garden City Hall was packed with neighbors up in arms over a new fire assessment fee.
In minutes, why the city manager is now recommending scrapping that fee altogether. Jonathan.
We are tracking some afternoon thunderstorms tonight, just a few of them out there, mostly in Lake County, a few more erupting on the Sumter-Lake County line, and then also that cell that is trying to exit Flagler as we speak. We'll talk more where these are headed and break down that 7-day forecast at about 5:17.
But first, changing the game for students who struggle to show up to school. How a local high school is turning absences into graduations. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
The pandemic shut down schools, and for some kids, their school routine never came back. Since COVID, chronic absenteeism has spiked in Florida and across the country, and it is fueling falling test scores.
But one alternative school has a model that looks nothing like a traditional high school, and the results speak for themselves. Your Apopka community correspondent Justin Warman explains.
More than 31% of students in Florida are chronically absent. That is almost a third of students missing class, falling behind, and risking their diploma. At Sheeler High School in Apopka, though, they are taking a different approach, and it's working.
Halfway through the semester, I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do this anymore.
18-year-old Chloe McDaniel used to dread going to school.
Like, it was too crowded. It was just, like, too much. Like, too many people. I was getting anxious every single day.
She was falling behind at Apopka High, missing more and more class. Then she found a learning environment that worked for her at Sheeler High School.
How did it feel to graduate?
Honestly, it felt surreal.
Yeah.
Like, because of what had happened in the past, I didn't think I would graduate. I never thought I could make it to this point.
And Chloe isn't alone. Sheeler just had a record graduating class.
And we actually ran out of space, so
I see that.
He kind of
That's what you're
went
looking
off.
for.
Yeah.
That's what this past year, how many people graduated?
127.
300 students enrolled, approximately. We graduated 127.
Principal Jonathan Owens is now entering his 9th year.
To have the same exact standards that any other school has to have. The teachers are certified the same, administrators are certified the same.
The diploma still says Orange County Public Schools.
It's the Orange County, the superintendent signs off. Right. It's the same, everything's exactly the same.
But the structure is different. Students pick a morning or afternoon shift. It's more hands-on, and there's no homework.
They don't have to bring the pencil. They don't have to bring paper. They don't have to bring anything. We're going to give you everything you need to be successful.
So they just show up.
Just show up with your body.
And if they don't,
they're going to your house and knocking on your door and saying, "Where are you at?" You know.
From the outside, Sheeler looks nothing like a school. It's in a shopping plaza in between a retail shop and a tax office. But this location is strategic. Lynx runs right by this plaza, and the school provides free bus passes.
We're giving you a pass to go home. We're giving you a pass to come back, and the bus stop's right there.
Right.
And so don't make us go to your house.
Another difference, Sheeler has more support staff than teachers.
I'd like to consider myself as their lifeline.
LaDwina Jordan is a family support specialist. She starts building a rapport with students on day one.
So if they do run into situations that may cause them to become truant, I give them my business card. They have my school work phone and everything to reach out to me. Yes, it's one hallway, but a lot of magic happens between these walls.
The kind of magic that turns potential dropouts into graduates. I'm your Apopka community correspondent Justin Mormouth, News 6.
And News 6 is helping teachers start the year strong. We have created a county-by-county gift list with the supplies they need the most. Scan the QR code on your screen. You can also find the links at clickorlando.com/back-to-school. It's a great way to support our educators together.
All right, time now to check in with Jonathan Kegas. A lot going on in the weather department. Even some rain out there right now.
A little bit of thunderstorm action going on right now, especially to the west of Orlando, then also for us in Flagler County. This is kind of fizzling out the cell in Flagler County. I've been watching for you guys and likely going to miss Palm Coast as this is all going to head back from south to north and working back up into St. Johns County. We also have this cluster of thunderstorms firing up into Lake County as expected. All of this now mainly to the northwest of I-4 and can track these storms alongside me tonight. Just download that free News 6 weather app, lightning detection, one of the best tools on there. You're going to get that detection. You may have already gotten that in Leesburg as we do have lightning strikes getting close to that 10-mile radius. Same for us in Bushnell as these are working their way from south to north. Webster, good evening. We have some of the light to moderate rain starting. The heaviest stuff going to slide through, especially on the east side of town over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Future radar doing a nice job kind of firing everything off for the rest of the evening northwest of I-4. There's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're looking pretty good. Nice smooth start to the morning anyway. Once we get into the afternoon, I think we'll start to see a few storms pop 1 to 2 o'clock along I-75 and along I-95, and then things come together inland tomorrow. That's 7 to 8 o'clock. I think one of our more traditional sea breeze collisions where we fire off the storms in the east, fire off the storms from the west, and then they come together and just really have a fun time along the I-4 corridor. So we're going to be watching that closely tomorrow for one of those kind of extended evenings with the thunderstorm activity out there. Here's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera at Port Canaveral. Nice and quiet out there. Temperatures back to the upper 80s. Lots of sunshine, a couple of those puffy clouds out there in the shot. The breeze at about 10 miles an hour. A little more sunshine in Daytona Beach. We're hanging tight into the upper 80s right now. Temperature-wise across the board, we're at the 90s in DeLand, 91, 92 in the Villages. Claremont, we are at 93 degrees after a day in the mid-90s. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures tomorrow into the mid-90s. Again, rain chances back up to 60%, kind of where we were today. We'll continue to watch those fluctuate up and down a little bit through the end of this work week. Tropical storm Aaron, latest on that storm, 45 miles an hour right now. The center marks the spot there. Limited thunderstorm activity now as it works its way to the west. It's battling some stability issues, which is, again, is a good thing to keep it weak. There's also some dry, dusty air, as we've been talking about really since last week. But it is going to enter a more favorable environment. Here again is the storm. The greens and yellows on your screen, that's where things are unfavorable for tropical development. Once we get into that peach color or red, that's when things become favorable. It takes things like wind shear, water temperature, all the ingredients you need for things, for tropical systems to either grow or die, and puts it all together. So you see over the next couple of days as these lines, the computer models here, take it right on back through the red. So we're not really going to see this thing go gangbusters until it gets just northeast of the Caribbean and it finds an environment that it likes a little bit more. So it may continue to go further and further west of what model guidance suggests because it is on the weaker side. And that's one of the things that I want you to know here going forward, if you frequent the models and see the stuff on social media, that as long as it stays on the weak side, it is going to come a little further west. Still, though, it eventually makes that turn away from Florida. The stronger the storm gets, the faster it gets strong, the quicker it turns and makes that northward turn. The models are going to continue to go back and forth. We don't have Hurricane Hunter aircraft in this just yet. It's way too far out. Once it gets closer, that windshield wiper effect becomes a little less common, because we do know everything that's going on in that storm because we do have planes in there. And again, this is the big one. Be careful with social media out there. A lot of the things that are posted are the doom and gloom, worst of the worst model runs that are out there, and some of the outliers. So just to pay attention. I got you covered here. We're watching this closely. But again, so far, it looks like it's going to continue to bend away from Florida. Again, always watching it until it makes that turn. But right now, as we talked about over the last several days, cautiously optimistic that this is not a Florida storm. 40% shot on Friday for storms. We're going to keep those afternoon thunderstorms over your weekend with temperatures into the mid-90s.
Jonathan, thank you. It is the end of an era for a longtime Orlando attraction.
Dr. Phillips' Cinedome screened its last film before a cutting-edge makeover comes. Still to come, details on the Science Center's future plans to dazzle generations with some brand new technology.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert. Listen, overnight we saw one that popped up. It's new, so I need you to pay attention. Along Kirkman Road at International Drive, northbound towards I-4. Left lane and some other lane closures will be present, so just be careful. And then on I-4, west and eastbound, we'll see some lane closures between Sand Lake down towards 528. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Well, from nature to distant universes, for nearly 30 years, the Dr. Phillips Cinedome at the Orlando Science Center has been the place to catch an educational film on a giant screen. Well, now the theater is moving toward the digital age.
News 6's Jana Manahalal visited the Science Center earlier today, where the theater had its final film projection.
This has been the source of many happy memories for me, and it has been kind of a touchstone for the community. It's just a special place. What you experience, you almost can't experience this anyplace else.
Since 1997, the Dr. Phillips Cinedome at the Orlando Science Center has brought stories to life on a giant titled screen, transporting nearly 4 million visitors around the world. But early Tuesday afternoon, the iWorks projection system was used for the last time. And it's a bittersweet moment for Amy Quinsbury, who was there for opening day all those years ago.
You know, as somebody that was here as a volunteer and fell in love with the theater, you know, it's really nice to be able to be here and to be able to thread the last show.
This is one of the last film projectors of its kind, and it will be heading to a different museum where its legacy will live on. The dome stands at nearly 80 feet tall, and if you were to stretch it out, it would be the size of an 8-story building. But the size of the dome is what transports those viewers to places they would never think to go.
You know, some are lucky they get to travel to places, and then some get to travel, you know, through other people's journeys that they took, and it brings it to life and home for them as if they were there.
I heard the little girl behind me talking to her mom about the film, and that's why we do what we do. Kids love it, they're educated, and these films really do stand the test of time. Yes, it's been 30 years, but still, you learn something new every single time you see it.
I'll tell you how it feels. It feels like graduating high school or graduating college. You know, you're saying goodbye to one chapter of your life, but you're very excited for the next chapter.
The last show ended at 2:45, but soon Orlando's dome will light up with stories for a whole new generation. In Orlando, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Firefighters in New Smyrna Beach say low pay is pushing them out the door.
What's being asked for and what the city says as the fire assessment fees remain a big topic impacting Central Florida communities.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now. The president of the Teachers Union is urging the Brevard County School Board to rehire suspended teacher Melissa Calhoun. The board meeting is happening right now, where we expect him to address the board on this issue. News 6's Troy Campbell will provide an update coming up on News 6 at 6.
Tonight, we got our first look at body camera video from a police chase that ended in a man's death. An Orlando police officer tried to pull over Dornell Bargnar for an unreadable license plate. During the chase, the Florida Highway Patrol says Bargnar and the officer hit a man on a sidewalk. Bargnar faces charges including vehicular homicide. The family of a missing teenager who was found dead wants the FBI to investigate what happened. 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier was traveling from Charlotte County to Brevard County. His body was found on Friday in a retention pond near I-75 in Manatee County. Get ready to pay more at the pump if you fuel up in Seminole County. Commissioners there just voted to increase the gas tax. Our community correspondent, Catherine Silver, explains how much it will cost you.
Starting January 1st, when you stop to get gas in Seminole County, you'll be paying another 5 cents in gas taxes. And that's money that adds up. Just how much? We asked the county, and they tell us it would cost the average driver about $2 each month. That's $24 a year. And it adds up for the county, too. Staff says it could generate $8.8 million in revenue a year. That money will be used for transportation needs, to construct new roads and supplement costs of the Sunrail.
We've been conservative to our own demise. In order to provide the quality services that this county needs and quite frankly deserves, this is what had to happen.
Chairman Jay Zembauer says it's revenue the county needs as everything is getting more expensive. And as they're facing a $34 million budget deficit, they say they can't cut their way out of this.
What we have been doing historically is taking general funds to supplement transportation O&Ms. Now this will able to have a direct nexus on why the legislature originally had the gas tax to use for that, which then frees up the general fund to be used what it should be used for.
The commission also approved a utility services tax increase Tuesday.
Aye.
And we told you about the property tax rate increase earlier this summer.
Well, I already think taxes are too high how it is. And, gas is essential to, for everyone getting around. So if we got to pay more in gas, it's just going to hit everyone's pockets harder and cause more economic issues.
Only one commissioner voted against it. It's also worth noting that Tuesday's vote aligns Seminole County with both Osceola and Volusia, which already utilized the additional 5-cent levy. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
New Smyrna Beach firefighters are set to rally for higher pay ahead of tonight's commission meeting there.
Their request coming at a time when other Central Florida cities are raising their rates or beefing up efforts to recruit as well. Brevard County recently raised its fire assessment fee to pay firefighters more money. Sanford is considering a proposed fee with the final vote slated for next month. Kissimmee just voted to change its shift schedule to entice recruits and raised a fire assessment fee to fund that. News 6's Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is outside of New Smyrna Beach City Hall with what the fire union is asking for.
The firefighters here in New Smyrna Beach tell me that they comparatively have one of the lowest salaries in the state, and they say if they don't reach an agreement here soon with the city to get paid more, it's going to have a major effect on those who live here in the emergency services.
Even working for a city like this for almost past 4 years for me, I had to make the decision that is best for me and my family and move on to a better career opportunity.
We caught Christian Huddleston walking out of City Hall right after his exit interview from the New Smyrna Beach Fire Department.
Getting a big pay raise to leave. My pension contribution is going from 10% down to 3%.
And he isn't the only one looking.
We have 32% of our department with active applications in with other departments.
The fire department only had 3 applicants last hiring round. Brandon Carroll with the New Smyrna Beach Fire Union says if they don't have full staff, stations could be browned out.
Right now our starting rate is $15.33 an hour. If you add that up, it's like $44,600 a year, which is far less than any most of the departments in the state.
The fire union's proposal argues New Smyrna EMTs make roughly $4,000 to $15,000 a year less than the departments those here are applying to and leaving for. The union is asking for a pay matrix now with at least $18 per hour starting.
You know, we started negotiation talks back in December because we knew in July they had to send the trim notice out for the military. So we wanted to give them enough time in order to budget for that. And basically they have yet to talk to us.
Now the city manager here sent me a statement that says in part they still have a month and a half under the current contract with the union to negotiate. It also says in part public safety remains a top priority for the city commission. In fact, nearly half of our entire general fund budget is dedicated to fire and police services. The city commission meeting here starts tonight at 6:30. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Meanwhile, a big reversal in Winter Garden. A controversial plan to impose a fire assessment fee would have cost homeowners hundreds of dollars a year. Well, now it might be scrapped. Winter Garden community correspondent Justin Warmuth spoke with neighbors who are now relieved.
2 weeks ago, it was standing room only inside Winter Garden City Hall as residents spoke out against this new fire assessment fee. Today, though, it's a different feel after homeowners learned that the city manager is recommending not moving forward with that proposal.
Now all the residents went from outrage to happiness.
The proposed fire assessment fee would have hit homeowners hard. $330 for the smallest homes a year, more than $500 for the largest. Winter Garden leaders called it a way to help close a $12 million budget shortfall that was caused in part by rising costs for staff and equipment. But longtime resident Louis Bello didn't like the idea from the start. When you first heard that they were looking into the fire assessment fee, what was the initial reaction to that?
It's more money for them to waste. Show me that you can prove that you can actually know how to manage your money before I'm ready to give you more money.
He's lived in Winter Garden for more than 20 years, and he has seen the growth here, both in population and in cost of living.
We already pay enough as it is on real estate taxes.
City Manager John Williams says the decision to drop the fee came after staff reviewed next year's budget and found nearly $4 million in cuts, enough to recommend scrapping the public hearing on the fee.
I think it's great that they magically found the funds. I think it benefits all of the homeowners that were so happy about having to pay the extra $300.
After I couldn't get a hold of the city manager on the phone, I went to City Hall to see if he was there so I could learn more about the reversal. The receptionist told me no one from the department was in the office today. Now, Winter Garden commissioners still need to take action on this at Thursday's meeting. In fact, you can still see it is on the agenda, but it has this red note at the bottom with the city manager's recommendation. We'll let you know what happens. I'm your Winter Garden community correspondent, Justin Warmuth, News 6.
The city of Orlando hosting a safety summit today catered toward Hispanic seniors. Our Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti went to the neighborhood, the Englewood Neighborhood Center, to check it out.
In a world where our older neighbors can often be the most preyed upon, this event is aimed at helping them feel a bit more empowered where they live.
Representatives from the city, including police and fire, took time Tuesday to connect Hispanic seniors with the resources they may need to feel safe. The event featured safety presentations on CPR, home burglary prevention, and avoiding scams. District 2 City Commissioner Tony Ortiz was happy with the turnout. That's something we wanted to ask him about, given the fact that people in Hispanic neighborhoods, regardless of their immigration status, have told us about being more intentional of where they go. Not to mention concerns of just being around law enforcement.
I have come in contact with people out there that are totally panicky when it comes to law enforcement. They don't know who to trust anymore, especially with all the issues that are going on right now. It's just very sad, especially people feeling insecure in their own persons, especially when they're navigating our city.
But as Commissioner Ortiz points out, the current climate surrounding immigration enforcement did not seem to deter people from attending Tuesday's event. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Back to school is an important time to highlight pedestrian safety.
There have been a lot of changes happening along State Road 46 near the Sanford Sunrail station. Trooper Steve went to check out some new pedestrian crossings.
Obviously, active construction zone, meaning no phone zone. Can't touch the phone. Anything, all violations, moving violations are doubled and 4 points on your driver's license, so be careful. So as you're traveling eastbound out here, you can see that right lane is closed, but there are a lot of signs. So as you're driving, part of driving is multitasking. You should be looking at the signage. There's a digital sign in here saying do not block the cross. We have a new crosswalk there here at Persimmon. As you approach the next intersection here, there's signage that indicates, hey, there is a crosswalk ahead. If a pedestrian was here, this one has lights, so you would have to yield there. So this is the ridiculous DUI detection curve, I'm calling it. Look at this thing. So as you're westbound, right lane, and both lanes shift. Suddenly, if you're not paying attention, wakata, you're gonna hit that thing. It is so unnecessary. Someone told me it is for speed reduction. I believe it's going to be crash causation, if anything.
I like that, crash causation. All right, well, 20 years from now, Central Florida will have a front row seat to a celestial spectacle.
Yeah, and we can think of a few local landmarks that will draw big crowds for a total solar eclipse, some that will have a pricey ticket. We'll explain coming up.
A couple of storms out there on the radar right now. Everything is to the west and drifting back to the north. I think most of us have a quiet evening. I'll show you where these guys are headed in just about 6 minutes.
But first, thousands of students are leaving public schools for private ones. News 6 investigates the challenges school districts are facing this year. And tonight, try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. News 6 tonight starts at 9 and go in-depth as we answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all on News 6 Plus. Central Florida school districts are starting the year with a leaner budget. This after the federal government released billions of dollars that had been frozen while the Trump administration reviewed the education budget.
Many say Florida public schools face another challenge, decreasing funding and enrollment. News 6 investigator Louis Bolden explores why it's happening.
To say that this has been an unusual budget cycle doesn't begin to explain what we have been dealing with over the last several months.
Orange County Superintendent Maria Vasquez pointing out at a budget meeting that the last few weeks of uncertainty surrounding federal and state funding for school districts have been a challenge. While Orange County is starting the year with a tentative balanced budget, she says one thing is certain.
You are going to see that we have fewer dollars to be able to continue the great work in Orange County Public Schools.
The district CFO, Doreen Concolino, pointing out in the same meeting that traditional public schools are expected to decline in enrollment by 2,700 to 3,000 full-time students in 2026. The light blue line highlights the steady increase in students taking state scholarships to attend private schools. For fiscal year 2026, OCPS estimates having more than 30,000 scholarships going to private schools, totaling about $211 million.
Which will reduce the district's final state revenue appropriation.
What we really need to do is make sure that we are not blaming the Family Empowerment Scholarship for shortcomings in our budget. That's not what is causing it.
School board member Alicia Ferrant cautioned the district not to blame the shortfall on scholarships.
Let's look at the root and see what is the reason why are parents wanting to choose a scholarship to pull their child from their own public school.
The debate about scholarships and dropping enrollment in public schools is one happening across the state. Florida's legislature passed the law 2 years ago that tax dollars can go to private schools in the form of scholarships.
The Florida legislature has continued to bleed money out of our public schools through taxpayer-funded school vouchers.
We caught up with State Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith at a town hall meeting on the topic. He says the $4 billion scholarship program is gutting public schools.
That affects the quality of our public schools. It affects the resources that our students receive, the per student funding allocation that our public schools are receiving.
We highlighted Orange County, but all Florida public school districts are dealing with the same problem. Enrollment is expected to drop statewide by about 70,000 students this year. We have updates on our other Central Florida counties with this story on clickorlando.com. I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
All right, let's get a check of where those storms are tonight. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas.
Yeah, guys, we were talking a little bit ago. We put Leesburg on notice that we were having a lightning storm come by. I told you if you had that weather app, the News 6 weather app, the free download, you'd likely be getting lightning detection soon. And there is that cell that's kind of riding the Lake and Sumter County line from north to south. I'll turn on the loop for you so you can see exactly where this storm is coming from and going toward. Again, Leesburg, we're getting some of the rain on the west side of town, Fruitland Park and the Villages. This is heading to you next. Coleman, you might see the dark clouds if you're looking to the east. Be careful, though, if you're in Coleman, just because the lightning is striking far away from the storm at times. And again, you're close enough if you can hear that thunder to be struck by the lightning. Also going to take you down to Mascot. We're on the dry side now, especially on the east side of town, but the west side getting in on some light rain. That's going to continue to work its way up towards Center Hill into Mabel this evening. It's just an early heads up. There's nothing severe out there, but a gusty run-of-the-mill thunderstorm with a lot of lightning coming in your direction. Future radar doing a nice job again. This is going to continue to lift to the north, the Villages, Ocala, Denellen over the next couple of hours. That's 7 o'clock as these drift back to the north and west. Could see a flare up here if you have a late night drive, maybe to Tampa or St. Pete, closer to Lakeland tonight. That's going to be working up the I-75 corridor and then fizzling out as we get into the evening. So here we go, 8 o'clock tomorrow, Palm Bay, Rockledge, Titusville, good evening. We're nice and dry. Most of Central Florida going to be off to a nice sunny start. That's 2 o'clock on your Wednesday afternoon, and you see the sea breeze coming together. I think tomorrow we could have one of those traditional sea breeze nights where we get the storms to really erupt inland. We'll have storms across I-95 and I-75 as well, but you saw how they came together here. So I'm really thinking that once we get into that 7, 8, 9 o'clock hour, we could see that eruption again, and some of those storms linger as they typically do. There's 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Things start to fall apart in a nice quiet evening. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Temperatures back to the mid-90s, rain chances at 60%, right around a little bit higher than average, a little bit warmer than average in terms of the temperature department. Here's the latest on Aaron. Again, it doesn't have a lot of billowing thunderstorms with it at this point as expected because it is surrounded by dry, dusty air. We'll see what happens once night falls. These things typically perk up a little bit, but it's continuing to go west. at about 22 miles an hour, 45 mile per hour maximum sustained winds right now. I want to show you what's steering this thing. It's two areas of high pressure. There's one out over to the east that's pushing it further to the west. We're fast forwarding to Saturday, August 16th, by the way. And then we're watching this ridge of high pressure over Florida. That's actually what's going to bake us and help make our temperatures several notches above where we should be for this time of the year. It's dependent upon where that goes. And model forecast, again, has that retrograding back to the west a little bit. And with Aaron getting on the stronger side north of the Caribbean, it also feels the tug of that high pressure. So it kind of opens up that escape route that we always like to look for. Now, our friends in Bermuda, different story. It's going to be something to watch for them, but that is what is going to allow Aaron to make that turn north. Where it happens, that is still very much in question, but Florida should be out of play. It's not completely out, but it should be mainly out again. Always watching it, of course, until it makes the turn. But some of the model runs that are posted on social media just outlandish. Again, there's no Hurricane Hunter data in them, so they're going to go back and forth and do some crazy things for a little while longer. 60% shot for storms over the next couple of days, 40% shot to close out this work week.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, the Perseid meteor shower is peaking today. We always like to see your celestial photos. Just go to clickorlando.com/pins, upload your pictures and videos on our pin it page. Well, 20 years from today, there will be a major milestone moment here in Central Florida.
So in minutes, the details on the total solar eclipse that will darken Walt Disney World.
Plus, lost and found again, the story of an Orange County deputy who keeps chasing Liberty, the emu. Next.
Coming up in the morning, another local city turning to cameras to catch school zone speeders.
Where drivers will soon face big fines if they're caught putting kids' safety at risk.
Plus, Candace will have a look at the overnight track for Aaron.
We'll see you for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
If you think a ticket to the Magic Kingdom is pricey now, just wait until 20 years from now. That's when Disney Park guests will have a prime seat for Central Florida's total solar eclipse. You'll remember last year's solar eclipse was quite the spectacle. Central Florida only observed a partial solar eclipse that time, but that will not be the case on August 12th. 2045, as most of Central Florida will be in the path of totality. You can find more eclipse information, including city totality times, in this web story written by meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at clickorlando.com. Too bad they don't sell Disney tickets like forever stamps by today's prices, right?
That would be quite the deal, but there's a
Yes.
reason they don't do that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, though.
Yeah,
Impact for sure. Well, finding lost people, pets, or items can be part of the law enforcement officer's day-to-day job.
Yeah, it's safe to say one Orange County deputy has a rare talent, finding really big birds. This is the second time Deputy Martilla has posed with this emu over the past month. His nickname is Liberty, not the deputy, but the emu.
He's looking
The
for freedom.
Sheriff's office shared the photo on the right today with the caption, "Liberty had escaped from the farm again, but was safely returned." I don't know how you get this skill, but emus are kind of
You
intimidating.
got to be
They're
careful,
tall.
and you got to be careful around those things.
They'll get you. Here's what we're working on coming up for News 6 at 6. First, motorcyclists recording themselves driving dangerously in Central Florida, then posting that video to YouTube. The key reasons investigators are not seeking charges against anyone involved in this video. First, though, we're digging into brand new body cam footage from a police chase that left an innocent man dead, what the newly released video is uncovering. Now at 6, an Orlando man killed in a police chase he was not even a part of.
There was a guy under your truck.
Under my truck?
What we're uncovering from this newly released body cam footage.
And we'll have the latest on Tropical Storm Erin. We'll have a closer look at where the storm is now and where it could be headed.
This YouTube channel shows motorcycles that appear to speed and ride dangerously through Central Florida. I'll explain why the Florida Highway Patrol is not seeking criminal charges against anyone tied to those YouTube videos.
We begin with some breaking news. The owner of 2 loose dogs involved in a deadly attack on an 8-year-old will face a misdemeanor charge. That information just came into our newsroom the last half hour from an official close to the case there. 8-year-old Michael Millett was mauled to death in January when riding his bike around his DeLand neighborhood. Since then, his family has been at the forefront of a push to strengthen state law for people who have dogs deemed dangerous. Well, tomorrow, the state attorney for Brevard and Seminole counties will formally announce and explain the charging decision. Your community correspondent for Volusia County, Molly Reed, will be there and will update you with the very latest. Now to video just released by Orlando police. This was a deadly pursuit here. It ended with an innocent man getting hit by both the suspect's vehicle and the police officer's pickup truck. Your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, joins us from the newsroom. So, Mike, what does that video show?
Yeah, so Matt, the footage we reviewed is from Detective Christopher Moulton's body-worn camera. Orlando police say Moulton's unmarked truck did not have dash camera, so we never see the man who died. But what you're about to hear is Moulton learning 20 minutes after the fact that someone was under his truck.
He wanted me back at the car, asked him, wait, I'm with K9 Track, and he said, no, I want you at the car now, please. Yeah, I don't have my phone on me, so.
This is the end of the 20-minute body camera footage from that night in February. Rewind 20 minutes, and we start with perhaps the most pertinent part. Detective Christopher Moulton driving. There's no audio, but it's apparent he's in the midst of a chase. Florida Highway Patrol says it was during Dornell Bargnair's attempt to get away from Moulton that Bargnair hit 56-year-old Gerald Neal. And FHP says so did Moulton in his Ford F-150.
815 bailout, Rio Grande, Indiana.
They just left him there under the truck like a piece of meat, like he meant nothing. Wow. Like he meant absolutely nothing. Wow. And we still don't have any answers.
An initial FHP report says that after Moulton's front tire collided with Neal, Moulton gets out of his truck and runs after Bargnair. 20 minutes later, while still searching for Bargnair, an officer tells Moulton he's needed back at his truck.
Oh, there was a guy under your truck.
Under my truck?
Yeah. All right, he's coming.
Hiding? Okay, yeah, I'll go check right now. Unless he doubled back.
I don't know if it's
No, definitely not.
So back to the reason authorities say the chase started in the first place, an unrecognizable license plate. We did review Orlando Police's internal policies and guidelines, and it appears Moulton's decision to pursue Bargnair violated at least one of those policies, which says an officer may engage in a pursuit if they have a reasonable suspicion that the fleeing suspect committed or tried to commit what's called a forcible felony. An unreadable license plate, though, is not considered a forcible felony. Moulton is still on administrative leave from the police department and has not been criminally charged. Meanwhile, Bargnair's charges have since been upgraded to vehicular homicide. Back to you.
Mike Valenti, thank you. Time now for a check of your forecast. Here's a live look over downtown Orlando, our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. In this area, all is clear, but meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is tracking some showers for you tonight. Jonathan?
Just a couple of them, and if you're under them, you know they're there, obviously. We have a lot of lightning now hanging around the villages. We were just talking about that we would likely see this start to work up into the villages in the next 15 minutes, and there we go with some of the heavier rain and the thunderstorm activity around. This all staying on the west side of Leesburg right now, sliding to the east of Wildwood, although we are close enough to likely hear the thunder. So again, just make sure you're paying close attention and not maybe walking the dog just yet as these thunderstorms are close by. Back further to the west for us into Bushnell, Webster, just some light showers wrapping up this evening. Otherwise, it is nice and quiet. We do have another little cell popping up right around Pearson, just between Pearson and DeLand this evening. No lightning yet. We're likely by the next time we talk going to have a couple of lightning strikes as this drifts to the north. By and large, most of us have a quiet evening. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, and I'll have the latest on Aaron coming up at about 6:17.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, if you gas up in Seminole County, get ready to pay more at the pump. Earlier today, commissioners voted to increase the gas tax. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, was there. She explains how much it's going to cost.
Starting January 1st, when you stop to get gas in Seminole County, you'll be paying another 5 cents in gas taxes. And that's money that adds up. Just how much? We asked the county, and they tell us it would cost the average driver about $2 each month. That's $24 a year. And it adds up for the county, too. Staff says it could generate $8.8 million in revenue a year. That money will be used for transportation needs, to construct new roads and supplement costs of the Sunrail.
We've been conservative to our own demise. In order to provide the quality services this county needs and quite frankly deserves, this is what had to happen.
Chairman Jay Zembauer says it's revenue the county needs as everything is getting more expensive. And as they're facing a $34 million budget deficit, they say they can't cut their way out of this.
What we have been doing historically is taking general funds to supplement transportation O&Ms. Now this will able to have a direct nexus on why the legislature originally had the gas tax to use for that, which then frees up the general fund to be used what it should be used for.
The commission also approved a utility services tax increase Tuesday.
Aye.
And we told you about the property tax rate increase earlier this summer.
Well, I already think taxes are too high how it is. And, gas is essential to, for everyone getting around. So if we got to pay more in gas, it's just going to hit everyone's pockets harder and cause more economic issues.
Only one commissioner voted against it. It's also worth noting that Tuesday's vote aligned Seminole County with both Osceola and Volusia, which already utilized the additional 5-cent levy. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, a Lake County judge has set the trial dates for suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez and his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez. Each have a pretrial hearing October 9th, with their trials slated to begin the week of October 20th. We're still waiting on discovery. The trials are tied to an illegal gambling operation that brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Investigators say Marcos Lopez ran the operation while Severance Lopez helped. Both have pleaded not guilty to their charges. Here's a live look at the Brevard County School Board meeting happening now. Tonight, union leaders who say former Satellite High School teacher Melissa Calhoun should have her job back showed up to this meeting. Calhoun was terminated after admitting to calling a student by a name other than their legal name. That is in violation of a 2023 law. News 6's Troy Campbell is in Brevard County, where he spoke with union leaders ahead of tonight's meeting.
When we showed up to the Brevard County School Board chambers, we had a discussion with the president of the Florida Education Association. He told us he is going to address the school board, urging they rehire Melissa Calhoun. The now former Satellite High School teacher told News 6 last week she was simply following her student's request when she called the student by a name other than their birth name, which is in violation of state law. The state's Education Practices Commission has already decided Calhoun will keep her teaching certificate, but will be placed on a 1-year probation and will have to pay a $750 fine. Despite this, Brevard Public Schools say Calhoun will not be employed by the district, at least not this year. We've seen people in the past show up to the Brevard County School Board meetings to protest her termination. Calhoun also tells News 6 she is seeking employment elsewhere in the meantime. We chatted with Andrew Spar, the president of the Florida Education Association, who says Calhoun deserves her job back. Take a listen.
The district, when this first came out, said that they were waiting to see if the state was going to sanction her certificate so she couldn't teach. And they said if they don't, then they'll return her to the classroom. Well, once the state decides not to do that, boom, all of a sudden, they're not returning her to the classroom.
And of course, we will be inside the school board meeting to hear what they have to say, and we will keep you updated. In Brevard County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
New at 6 now, Florida sheriff is taking his concerns over e-bikes to Tallahassee. E-bikes look like your regular bike. They can go much faster, though, some up to 28, even 30 miles per hour. And if they're hacked, they can reach speeds comparable to some motorcycles or dirt bikes. Right now, St. Johns County Sheriff Robert Hardwick is drafting legislation to update Florida's e-bike laws. Hardwick says the legislation will clarify e-bike regulations. Currently, they fall under bicycle statutes. This comes a day after a teen was hit while riding his e-bike to school in Volusia County. Mind you, yesterday was the first day back. The 14-year-old was riding on the sidewalk along Howland Boulevard when he was hit by a Kia. We're told the teen was dragged about 15 feet, and people who saw the crash happen had to help lift the vehicle off of him. He was airlifted to Arnold Palmer Hospital in Orlando. We're told he is expected to make a full recovery. By this time tomorrow, we will know whether or not Florida will have a regulated black bear hunt. The FWC is set to meet tomorrow morning in Gadsden County to vote on establishing a hunt and to finalize the rules. Over the weekend, protests took place all across Florida, including in downtown Orlando. If approved, this would be the first bear hunt in Florida in a decade. You may have seen this video on your YouTube feed. We've got a motorcyclist weaving through traffic on I-4 at times, hitting 150. Coming up, the key reasons investigators are not seeking charges against anyone behind these videos.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
So recently we told you about this YouTube channel right here. It features motorcycles that appear to speed right through Central Florida. Now, in other states, authorities have arrested drivers for participating in similar social media videos. But News 6 has learned FHP is not seeking criminal charges in this particular case. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest explains why.
The
This YouTube video, titled Orlando to Daytona in 20 Minutes, appears to show a motorcycle weaving through traffic on I-4 at high speeds. It's among dozens of videos posted on this YouTube channel that were recently reviewed by the Florida Highway Patrol. Although the motorcycle speedometer reads more than 150 miles per hour, News 6 cannot confirm exactly how fast the bike was going. And we cannot confirm who was operating it since his face is obscured. What's up, YouTube? This man, Dallas Ashley, appeared in several other videos that were posted on the same YouTube channel called Speed Demon 407. Ashley happens to be the grandson of NASCAR CEO Jim France and the great-grandson of NASCAR's founder, Bill France Sr. Some of the YouTube videos feature the Daytona International Speedway.
Watch out! Here comes a menace!
But Ashley insists he is not the man riding these motorcycles. You can't prove who was riding, Ashley tells News 6. It appears the Florida Highway Patrol agrees. I've obtained these internal FHP emails. They reveal that FHP Sergeant George Diaz reviewed the videos and determined there was no way to positively identify the operator of the motorcycle. Another FHP investigator noted there are difficulties in determining that an individual is the actual person in the video at the time of the offense when they are not showing their face under the guise of a full-face helmet.
Let this serve as an example.
But just months ago, police in Charleston, South Carolina arrested this man, Raymond Ortiz, for allegedly riding his motorcycle dangerously and then posting videos of it on Instagram. After Charleston police identified Ortiz as a possible suspect, records show that agency executed a lawful search warrant on his apartment and seized multiple items, including a BMW motorcycle, a black hooded sweatshirt, and a Joker-themed helmet. Charleston police also seized a GoPro 360-degree camera that is equipped with integrated GPS, which investigators say confirm the motorcycle's location and speed. Ortiz says he's innocent.
I do apologize for any trouble I have caused.
I ain't going to jail today, mother.
As for Speed Demon 407, in this clip, you can see a cell phone on the motorcycle's console.
I'm Officer Thacker, Longwood Police.
Hello, I'm Dallas Ashley.
This video, captured by police during a traffic stop, shows Ashley wearing a helmet with a GoPro camera attached. But there is no indication from records that FHP tried to get search warrants for those electronic devices. Now, the Florida Highway Patrol has not responded to any of our questions about the Speed Demon 407 YouTube channel, but police in Charleston, South Carolina are talking about their investigation into those similar Instagram videos. That agency says they want to hold people accountable before someone loses their life.
So clearly the key here is getting that search warrant.
In the case of South Carolina, that's how they say they got the evidence. They didn't know who this guy was on these Instagram videos at first. First, they were able to get a name. Once they had a name, they got enough cause to convince a judge to issue a search warrant, get the search warrant, and that's where they say they found that key evidence that gave them the probable cause to make the arrest in the South Carolina case.
Yeah, once you get the camera and the video, there's your evidence.
And the data, too.
Yeah, Mike DeForest, thank you very much. Fascinating stuff. Well, now to a landmark mission set to blast off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. In the past 15 minutes, we've just learned United Launch Alliance has set an exact time. Crews are aiming for 8:56 to send up the first Vulcan Centaur rocket to carry a military payload there. That's at the end of the launch window. On board 2 U.S. national security satellites for the Space Force. The question is, how is that weather looking? I know a guy. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, how are we doing on that front?
We're looking pretty good on the Space Coast anyway. Any kind of the thunderstorm activity that we're going to be tracking for the rest of this evening is going to stay on the western side. Note this little flare up too, closer to I-75. We showed you that on the future radar just a little bit ago, and that's going to continue to be the place where things light up tonight. A couple of downpours hanging around the I-95 corridor, really west of there, but everything's kind of moving off towards the north, and we should be good on the Space Coast. Now going forward, you see it there, that flare up from Lakeland to Spring Hill. That's going to continue to work its way from south to north this evening. Getting into tomorrow, that's 1 o'clock into the afternoon. You can see that forecast as well as track the thunderstorms that are out there on the free News 6 weather app going forward. Tomorrow, we get both sea breezes involved. The east and west coast come together, fire things up. That 7 o'clock could be a rockin' afternoon. Really, once we get towards 7, 8, 9 o'clock, late night thunderstorms, I should say, as we move in toward the I-4 corridor. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral, Brevard County. Just a few bubbling clouds out there. Live look again with our Launch Credit Union camera with temperatures now back into the upper 80s. It feels like 100 in DeLand. 89 degrees is our actual air temperature. Kissimmee, good evening. We're back to 88. Melbourne, we're checking in at 89 degrees. Good evening in Cocoa Beach, just up the road. We are hanging out at 90. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Temperatures tomorrow back in the mid-90s, a little hotter than where we were. We're going to keep things in the mid-90s over the next couple of days. Rain chances tomorrow hanging about 60%. You saw that coming together of the thunderstorms, of the sea breeze to fire up those thunderstorms. Latest on air, and there it is. Again, it's not super impressive, so we're likely going to see it continue to meander west a little bit. We might see more thunderstorm activity erupt whenever we get to nightfall. That's when these things typically do their work and start to strengthen a little bit. I want to show you the tropical index overlaid with some of the computer forecasts here. Focus on the green and yellow. This is where we're talking about conditions not being favorable for development, pretty much where it is right now. The peach and red color, when that shows up, that's when things start to change. It takes into account water temperature, moisture in the atmosphere, and wind shear, everything that goes into making these tropical systems. Here we go to Saturday. Note the red pops up. So we start to get this into a better environment. It's likely when it's going to perk up towards the end of the work week and into the weekend. And then you clearly see here that really from the Northeast Caribbean back towards the Turks and Caicos and through Bermuda, it's all red. That's probably the best environment in the entire Atlantic Basin right now. We talked about last week that the main development region where Aaron is right now is not very favorable and doesn't look like it's going to be for the next several weeks either. Nonetheless, the faster that it gets stronger, the better opportunity it has to get on out of here and not come to Florida at all. If it stays weak for longer, it might meander closer to the Turks and Caicos and Bahamas, but still all indications are that even if it does meander further west and further west, just don't be scared by those model runs that you see out there on social media, because still all indications are with every model, every ensemble member. We're going to talk much more about this at 9:30 on the News 6 YouTube page and on News 6 Plus. Everything has it bending. That is different than Irma. That was not the case. I've seen that comparison made a bunch over the weekend. But remember, weaker west, stronger north. We'll talk about that at 9:30. I'll go on that soapbox. Temperatures back to the mid-90s over the next few days. Rain chances at 60%. We're going to keep things nice and toasty, guys, getting into next work week.
It is just that time of the year, my friend. Thank you. Sports Director Jamie Say is here. Jamie, race fans have August 23rd circled on the calendar.
Yes, it is the most exciting NASCAR race of the summer, according to this girl right here. And it's at Daytona. How perfect is that?
I'll believe you.
I'm talking about the Coke Zero Sugar 400. It's about a week and a half away. Today, News 6 hosted the race championship trophy and one driver who really wants to win it. That's coming up next. Welcome back to News 6. NASCAR's top drivers are 11 days away from doing 160 laps at Daytona. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 is coming up on Saturday, August 23rd. Today, racer John Hunter Nemechek did some laps in Orlando. The driver of the number 42 Legacy Motor Club Toyota made a pit stop at News 6, along with the Coke Zero Sugar Championship trophy. John Hunter is one of several drivers on the outside of the playoff cut line, but a win in the Coke Zero gets him in.
Excited to get back down here. One last shot to try and get a win, to win our way into the playoffs as they start the following week. And it's a great racetrack for me. I enjoy coming down to Daytona, kind of like a hometown for me in a sense, being down here in Florida. So excited to get back here and get racing.
Daytona International Speedway President Frank Kelleher also stopped by News 6 to discuss the Coke Zero. It's a unique race. The summer heat, the humidity, the track conditions, the pressure to make the playoffs, and that world-famous oval that plays no favorites really boost the intensity.
Every driver that is coming in, putting a helmet on, every crew chief, yes, they want to win Daytona, but they know this is walk-off home run opportunity. Like, everyone legit has a shot to park the car in victory lane.
Again, the Coke Zero Sugar 400, August 23rd at 7:30. The Xfinity race, the Wawa 250, is the night before. Check out more of John Hunter and Frank's interviews this Saturday night on After the Whistle at 11:35. The green flag is about to wave for the start of the fall sports season at UCF. The UCF women's soccer team plays its first game next Thursday. Men's soccer, August 21st. Volleyball at the end of the month. Different teams, same goals, win a championship. We heard from coaches and players today. We'll have that at 11. Oh, and by the way, Orlando Magic announced their preseason schedule today. They'll start off October 4th in Puerto Rico against Miami. They've got 2 games at home on the 12th and the 16th.
Oh, in Puerto Rico. How cool is that?
Yeah, very cool.
All right, Jamie Say, thank you. More news coming up at 9 on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app. We'll see you then. Have a great night.